SEC has been getting demolished. And so let me just start at the beginning of this video by saying, I think they should settle. I think they should settle with Ripple. I think they should settle with Coinbase. This video is about breaking news today in terms of the Ripple SEC case. This is not to say that there is a settlement date. However, there's some big news happening right now in terms of a possible settlement in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Let's dive into the news. This is the order of events. Eleanor over here on Twitter following it very nicely. District Judge Torres has referred the Ripple case to Judge Netburn for general pretrial. This was earlier today. Then all of a sudden, boom. Judge Netburn orders both Ripple and the SEC to agree on 3 mutually convenient dates to schedule a settlement conference if they believe it to be productive at this time. Remember, this is all coming off of the news of last week, breaking news. Judge rules XRP is not a security in SEC's case against Ripple. But that wasn't the entirety of the case, right? It wasn't just is XRP a security or not on secondary. There were other things going on. I came across this tweet, kind of puts it nicely. The win is considered to be the fact that XRP, the asset itself, and its trading on exchanges are not securities. Settlement may occur on other issues, such as the institutional sales. Will settlement occur? And the bigger question I'm going to explore with you in a few minutes plays into the Coinbase case. A settlement of Coinbase and the SEC. That is a huge question on my mind right now. And as this all transpires, this is what I'm wondering. So, Judge recommends scheduling 6 to 8 weeks beforehand due to the court's busy schedule. So, the narrative looks nice, right? A potential settlement in the next 6 to 8 weeks. But that's not the headline because that's not definite. Remember, if they believe it to be productive. And this is what Eleanor kind of broke down. The judge is suggesting that both sides agree on some possible dates if they believe it to be productive. This doesn't mean we'll see a settlement in 6 to 8 weeks. So while and you might see a lot of this headline float around, settlement in 6 to 8 weeks. It's a possible settlement. It means that if they do decide on a date, it will have to be scheduled 6 to 8 weeks. I want to take a look, before we start talking about how this plays into the Coinbase case, I want to take a look at Gary's reaction. Because Gary did speak today in relation to all of this stuff that's going on, namely XRP not a security. Let's take a quick look at his reaction from earlier today.
We were pleased from that decision, recognizing the importance of protecting investors on the institutional investors in that.
I just want to interject for a second. You might be out there agreeing with me, maybe you're disagreeing, but he uses this phrase all of the time, protecting. And I think it's so ironic in this specific case. He's basically alluding to he's excited because institutional investors are protected, implying in the second part of this video, implying that retail investors are not protected because of this decision. When the entire time, and this is what's ironic, the entire time, if retail investors like you and I are not being protected, it's only because of the SEC and what they're doing right now. Check this out. Second part.
And that to fair notice, and while disappointed on what they said about retail investors, we're still looking at it and assessing that opinion.
Man. So he said assessing that opinion at the end. I realize that's kind of a judiciary term that is used. It's the opinion, right, of the courts. I get that, but I do not think he would have used that word opinion if the tables were turned and he's sitting there talking about, if the judge ruled that XRP was a security. I don't think he'd be like, we like that opinion. He'd be mentioning it more like, man, I'm so happy to see the law is defining what this is, right? So it's just, again, it's so contradictory. It seems like it's so undermining to the retail investor. And that's his reaction, though. He's disappointed, obviously. But like I said, SEC has not been just getting the W's really lately. Just in so many aspects, in the courts, in the headlines, right? And so this begs the question going into the SEC versus Coinbase case. What does this do to that? What is lining up right now? Is there a potential for a settlement? And I want to discuss that in this video because there's this article coming out of Cointelegraph. It's time for SEC to settle with Coinbase and Ripple. So we just discussed the Ripple settlement potentially. I did a tweet earlier, and I want to lay some important context. This is, I think, in my opinion, right now, as I do this video, July 17th, this is like one of the most important things happening in crypto. Every crypto holder must read what happened. I'm not going to read through this entire thing, but the judge asked in the pre-motion hearing the other day to focus, basically saying, are you asking me to focus on the assets themselves or on what's being done with them on Coinbase platform? SEC said, we're asking you to focus on the securities that Coinbase allows to be transacted on the platform and that they offer by and through the Coinbase wallet application, et cetera, et cetera. They're asking the judge to focus on the crypto assets. The SEC is clearly asking the judge to focus on each crypto asset. This is compelling because at the almost exact moment this hearing was happening, XRP was being ruled not a security by another judge in a different case between Ripple and the SEC. Now we pivot to this article because it's all making sense why the SEC really should settle. After Judge Torres' decision, SEC versus Ripple, the time has come for SEC to settle the remainder of its case against Ripple Labs. This article was written before all of this news broke today about potentially settling. Look what they add, though, as well as its case against Coinbase. This turns SEC's case against Coinbase on its head, talking about the XRP not a security ruling last week. It turns SEC's case against Coinbase on its head, and Coinbase knows it. It sent a strong message to the SEC when Coinbase relisted the XRP token within hours of Torres' decision. This victory was only a partial victory, but it makes it very difficult for the SEC to target secondary markets in crypto securities like secondary trading on Coinbase's platform. So with that being said, making it very difficult for SEC to target secondary market crypto asset sales as securities, shouldn't they settle? Check this out. People are speculating what will happen if SEC appeals Ripple case to Second Circuit. Y'all don't forget, Ripple might still win the whole thing at Supreme Court. The SEC's best move now is to settle and make a deal with Coinbase. Coinbase already extended the olive branch to SEC a year ago by filing a request for rulemaking to create an adapted listing process for crypto assets. So at this point, it would seem the most wise thing. It would just seem like the smartest thing for SEC just to settle, considering that it's not just, some random thing that just happened. The SEC is going up against the law, and that's the thing. So if this did get to Supreme Court, it might turn out even worse for the SEC. So I think the clarity is becoming more evident for all of us in the space after that XRP ruling, and hopefully something good happens in the shorter term with the Coinbase versus SEC case. Will they all settle? Who knows? But right now we will monitor. We'll see what happens on a potential settlement in the next 6 to 8 weeks. But that's all it is right now. It's potential. It's possible. This isn't the headline news that there is a settlement because we're not there yet. I want to make that clear again. But all of this coming together, we're going to continue tracking it, continue seeing what happens next. I appreciate all of you for watching. I hope you're having an awesome day. Please hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Would love to have you on board the crypto journey with me as we continue to grow in this space. I will see you all in the next video. God bless.